Hey, well, welcome to Bethel Online and our daily hope devotionals. Happy Cinco de Mayo, the 5th of May. You know, most of America, it's kind of interesting, most of America equates Cinco de Mayo with parties and guacamole and horchata and some a little stronger drink. We're not doing that over here, but many would be hard pressed to actually tell you why Cinco de Mayo is a day that is celebrated. The reality is it's actually a pretty important day because it was the day that the Mexican army had victory over the French Empire. The French were actually moving in on Mexico City, and the Mexican army took a stand on May 5th, 1862, and it was led by a young and courageous general named Ignacio Zaragoza. And they took a stand and stopped them. Now later they would end up marching into Mexico City, but they wouldn't put down roots there. But when I thought about Cinco de Mayo, I thought, there are some things in life that we need to make sure we remember. We tend to forget what we should remember, and we remember what we should forget. But we ought to remember certain things. There's certain things that we should celebrate and never forget their meaning. Never forget what they represent. The Bible talks about that. Communion is one of those things when we remember the broken body of Jesus and his spilled blood. Why we come to the Lord's table. Why we remember. That's why we remember and celebrate new life through water baptism. These are things we should remember. These are things we should commemorate. They're foundational truths that simply we should never forget. Because of the sacrifice and the resurrection of Jesus, anything, anyone, at any time, at any moment, things could be redeemed. At any moment, things could be restored. At any moment, they can be renewed. Any situation could be leveraged for good, no matter how bad something might look or feel. The Bible puts it this way, and it's a lot of places, but one of the great places is Romans 8:28. And the great apostle says, and we know that in all things God works for the good of those who love him and who have been called according to his purpose, or learning to live out his purpose. Then I think the words of the psalmist almost 1,000 years earlier, not to us, Lord, not to us, but to your name be the glory because of your love and your faithfulness. Why do the nations say, where is their God? This is out of Psalm 115. I love this part. Our God is in heaven, and he does whatever pleases him. In other words, God is sovereign. He's over all. He's bigger than. He's greater than whatever. So does that mean because God is over all and bigger than does that mean that he's really behind COVID-19, as some say? He's bringing judgment our way? No, it's not what it means. But it does mean that God can redeem whatever he allows. Here's just one example of how God does that. Phenomenal. So I've been reading this story on a guy named Nick Hall. Nick Hall is the founder of Pulse Evangelization Movement. And he hosts a show called Bible Quarantine. Isn't that an interesting word, or a name of a show? Bible Quarantine. And the series is on Fox Nation. His movement, this evangelizing movement, has seen more than 117,000 put their faith in Jesus for the very first time. It's happened in 100 nations in 43 languages. This is what he told reporters. This is the greatest evangelistic moment that we have seen in our lifetime. I'm thinking, wait a minute, we're talking about COVID-19 here. This is the greatest evangelistic moment that we have ever seen in our lifetime. The doors of our church buildings have been closed, but the church has not closed. I love that. We are living through, watch this, a great quarantine revival. Have you thought about the quarantine that way? I haven't. I know there's opportunity, but I haven't thought about it like that. A great quarantine revival, and I think God is just getting started. There are some things that we need to be careful to remember. Jesus' sacrifice and Jesus' resurrection paved the way for the impossible to become possible. That he can redeem, he can restore, and he can renew what's hard and even what's heartbreaking. One of my favorite songs says it best, and it helps us remember, it helps us celebrate that he is the waymaker, miracle worker, promise keeper, light in the darkness. My God, that is who you are. And that's why the great apostle could declare, and we know, not we think we know, not we hope we know, not we're not, well, we're kind of sure, and we know that in all things God works for the good of those who love him and who have been called according to his purpose. That's why the psalmist in Psalm 115 said, not us, Lord, not us, but to your name be the glory because of your love and faithfulness. Thanks for tuning in today to Bethel Online in our Daily Hope series. God bless you.